Okay, welcome back, everyone. This is week 2 of Web Fundamentals, and day 1, we are going to get started with our morning algorithm. And I know we've covered this concept in programming basics, but we're going to do a refresher today. And let's see who has remembered. Who can tell me what math.floor does? Math.floor. See this line here of code? What is it going to do to that 1.8?
Around 1.8 to 1 point or 1.
Okay. All right. So what does it do in general? What does math.floor do in general then?
Round the number to the downside
Right.
and to a whole number.
Right. So if the number, for example, is 1.8, it will round it down to 1.0. It doesn't matter what number this is here. It could be 9, 2, 1, any number after the decimal point. It's going to round it down. It's going to bring it down to the floor, which is 0. So it would be 1.0. Okay. What about math.ceil? What does math.ceil do?
Rounds up.
Right. It does the opposite, right? So anything that math.ceil rounds, so if it's 2.1, what would be the result?
Wouldn't it be 2?
Ceil.
Oh, seal 3.
3.0. It doesn't matter how low the number after the decimal is, it's going to bring it all the way up to the ceiling. So this is going to say, okay, what's the number before the decimal? Okay, it's 2, so I'm going to round this up to the ceiling. We're going to go from 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it gets to 10, and then it rounds up. It brings 2 to 3. So 2.1 with math.ceil on it would become 3.0. I just want to make sure that we all understand the difference between math.floor and math.ceil. So let's launch a round of poll checks. Okay, so we have math.floor, math.ceil. We all understand this pretty well. Awesome. Beautiful. Okay. Last one here then. Math.random. What does math.random do?
Randomly selects a number between the given between the assigned numbers.
Okay. So let's take a look at math.random in action. See what it does by itself. So I'm going to create a folder here. And then I'm gonna place this math.random in a JavaScript file, run the file, and see what it does. So, okay, I've got my file. Let me pull it up here. All right, so I'm gonna take math.random and I'm paste it in this JavaScript file here. And let's put a number in there. Let's put let's just log it first. All right, so let's console log. Random, just like this. Okay, I'm gonna run this code. And this is the number that I get in return. A random decimal point number. A number between 0 and 1. Let's run it again. Here we have a different number, a different decimal point number between 0 and 1. Okay. Oops, I think I broke it. Let me see. Okay, there it is again. How can we make this to be a whole number? How can we make this decimal number to be a whole number? Does anyone remember?
Use what, ceiling or floor, or the percent sign method, which is I forgot the name of it.
Okay.
Math.random times one of the either ceiling or floor.
Okay. So what we need to do first is wrap math.random in a math.floor, math.ceil. Okay, that would make the decimal number to be a whole number. So we need to wrap this math.random in a math.ceil. So let's do that. Math.ceil. And I'm going to wrap this math.random in this math.ceil. This is a decimal point number, right? It's going to give me a different number each time. Now I'm just going to round that number up. I'm going to round that random number up to its nearest whole integer. So let's go ahead and check to see what this does. I'm going to run it. Now I get the number 1. And I get the number 1 each time, because it's always going to round up no matter what random number between 0 and 1 I'm given. It's going to math.ceil it. So someone else said another suggestion to multiply. Multiple people said that. Where do I multiply now? Where do we multiply to get a random number that's a whole number? Can someone tell me?
Inside the wrap?
Inside the math.ceil?
Yeah.
So inside this parentheses?
Yeah.
If I say multiply by, let's say, 5. Okay, I'm going to multiply it just by 5. This math.random, I'm going to multiply it by 5. This number between 0 and 1, I'm going to multiply it by 5. And remember, whatever we do in the parentheses first matters. I'm going to multiply this random number by 5, and then I'm going to round it up to the nearest whole number. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Now I have my output to be the number 5. If I run it again, now the output is 3. So whatever number I give here, that's the range of the number that we're going to get as an output. It's going to be between 1 and 5. Why did I say it's going to be between 1 and 5?
So we avoid a 0?
Well, how did we avoid 0? How come we won't get 0 as a random number up to 5, since we said multiply
Because you've already done math.ceil, which means that if it's a decimal number, it's going to be greater than, or that's below 1, it'll be 1. So now the range will be between 1 and 5.
Okay, so then how can I make it between 0 and 5?
Would you do floor instead?
Okay, so if I say math.floor, and then I use math.random times 5, what's the range now that I'm working with?
0 and 5.
0 and 5? Okay, let's see. I got 4,
Oh.
2, 0, 1, 3, 3, 0, 0. So no matter how many times I click this play button, this run button, I am not going to get a 5. 5 seems to be out of range when I say math.floor. Okay, so have this in mind when we're doing our code today. I'm not going to give you the answer how to make math.floor reach 5 when you use it, but at least we can get that 0, right? We can get a 0 here, but we just can't reach that last number 5. So I'll let you guys figure out how to get to a 5 using math.floor. All right, and last thing here, the morning algorithm. Our morning algorithm is going to be valuable to us today. It's not going to just be relevant to this morning. We're going to want to keep this code for the afternoon lecture. Okay, keep this code handy on you. Share it with your group mates that you are randomly partnered with this morning. keep this code with you. Share it and keep it with you for this afternoon because we're going to need it for this afternoon. And what we're going to be doing today is two functions. The first one, we're going to make a dice roller using what we've learned about the math library in JavaScript. Math library in JavaScript, complete the following function that we would return a value between 1 through 6 at random. So we want a function that every time this function call is invoked, remember the play button here, D6. Every time it's invoked, we want a dice roll. So our first function that we're creating today is a dice roll function. We're going to create a dice that's going to randomly roll. Okay, so that's our first algorithm. Here's the second one. We are going to create a function that will act like an oracle. So I'll have this list of answers that it can give. Okay, here's our array of different strings that can be answers. We are going to write a function that will answer our questions by randomly choosing a response. Okay, it's not a real fortune teller, obviously, but it's going to randomly choose a response from this array. Okay, so different than the dice roll where we're just getting a number 1 through 6. At this point, we're choosing a random output from this array. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Do we have any questions so far? Okay, great. Well, then let's go to our breakout groups. All right, welcome back, everyone. How was today's algo? Fun? A little different, right? Okay, so let's go ahead to get to presenting because we have a lot of material to cover today. So, who would like to present for dice roll? Sorry, Isaiah, there's no, we're short on time today. We cannot go over the hour in Algos, so we have to cut it off exactly at this time. So for those that didn't complete it, sorry, we do not have time to spare today. We have a lot of learning. So let's present our answer for the dice roll. Dice roll. Who would like to cover that? Quick and simple. I know someone's done it. I'll call
I
on a
guess I
random
can
group.
do it.
All right, Mark, thank you.
Wait, can you share my screen? Can you see my screen?
Right, this is just for the dice roll, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can see it.
so so I was in Shakira and I can't pronounce his name. But basically what we did was we just had our dice function, I guess D6, and then you just return a random number. Random is between 0 and 1, multiplied by 6, now it's between 0 and 6. But then you ceiling it, so that's between 1 and 6.
Nice.
So that's
Okay.
basically you print it out. That's all.
Nice. Awesome. Who did every group get this one? Did we get the math.ceil, math.random times 6? I think we all got this one. Well,
Yeah.
at least I demonstrated during the lecture before. So if we have any questions, we can always refer back to this recording about how do we got this one. Now, the next one is super important. By the way, Mark, I like your font style. That's really cool. Thank you for presenting, Mark. And let's have someone else present for life's answers.
Yeah. Let me
Okay.
share my screen.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so it's pretty much the same as up here, but we just put it into an array. So we
Okay.
use math.random. We multiply that by, at first we did life's answers, or I guess the arrays dot length.
Mm-hmm.
And then we realized that if we get like the maximum length of it, then it would come out as undefined because it would be pulling a value out of, it would be like an undefined value at the end.
Okay.
So we did life's answers dot length -1. We multiply that by the math.random. We use math.ceil, and then we just return that into the array
Awesome.
to get
Okay.
the
That's it. And if we run it, can we see the random answers come out?
yeah. So down here.
Yes. So that's a random answer. That's another one. Oh, and you're running the dice roll as well. So you're playing 2 games. Okay. So for those that need a bit of more explanation, this var random on line 51, and I'll draw a little arrow here. This var random, that's a number, right? This random is going to output a number. Life's answers dot length. This is a number as well, right? This is the number of the length of the array. This is the number of the length of the array. Oh, and good question from Vincent. Will you ever get the answer is certain? It is
I gave you math ceiling, math floor.
So the question is, if we have an array of, let's say, 4 answers, and we say life's answers dot length, what number is that going to be if we have an array of 4 answers? It's going to be 4, right?
4,
Length is the
yeah.
number of the items in the array counting from 1. So you say answers dot length, that's the number of the whole entire array. So when we say lives.answers dot length minus 1, that's accounting for the indexes, right? We're looking because we went over the, you said we went outside of the array when we were getting the very last index. But math.ceil gives us the option of 1 through that last number. It doesn't give us, does it give us the option for 0?
I don't think
No.
so.
Okay, so did any other group complete this one with using math.floor?
Yep.
I
Okay,
think we did. Yeah.
okay, well then let's see your answer.
Yeah. Here, going back to showing.
Okay.
So what we had was I still need to kind of better understand how to do this so that the the array is outside of the function, but I placed it inside the function get array or get answer, life's answers, or Kyle and I had, and we had determined that with some assistance from Josh also, var roll equals math floor, math.random parentheses times life's answers dot length. And then just console log the life's answers roll. This ended up, I think, giving us the correct answer while using math floor.
So if we got very doubtful, so we were able to get the index at the very last of the array. Do you see it console logged very doubtful? If it console logs it is certain, then we know, did he get it?
Yeah, he got it. Yeah.
Got it.
Nice. Okay, so we're able to access the beginning of the array and the end of the array. We're able to use math.floor and multiply it by life's answers.length, and we don't have to subtract 1 by it because we're not going to reach the very end because we're starting at floor, which is index 0. Floor gets us to start at index 0 because it brings us down to 0. It doesn't round us up. All right, so let me take a quick poll on this one. And remember, you're going to want to share this code with your group mates that you had because you're going to need to use this code later on. Okay, so where's the poll? Here it is. All right, so let's launch a quick poll. And let's have some feedback on how we're understanding today's algorithm. especially life's answers one. Okay, if it's not fully sinking in the concept yet, you'll have some time later today to practice with it. I'll have the code up on the GitHub as well. So we can't spend any more time on algorithms this morning. We have to jump into today's lecture. We have a lot of material to cover. So let's go ahead and start our 10-minute break and get started with the lecture if we have no further questions.
Hey Josh, this is about the exam again.
Okay.
So for the JavaScript question, is it going to be part of the HTML CSS question, or is it separate?
It's gonna be part of HTML and CSS. So this
Okay.
lecture that we're going to go over right now is going to be super critical to the test.
Okay, the DOM, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the manipulating the DOM. That's what we're going to go over now, next lecture. So let's go ahead and take a break and get ready for that lecture.